join us for another episode of Mancode, where real men have real conversations about leadership, relationship, morality, and dominion. Welcome to Mancode.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Mancode, the season finale episode of Mancode. We appreciate you all joining in with us thus far. This has been an awesome season, man. We've had some great dialogue, and we just appreciate the support. You know, we've been doing this for a while now and excited to bring you all more content in the future. But for now, we're going to wrap up season 3. And tonight we have a very great discussion. But before we go in, let's do the man check-in. Let's see how's everybody doing. Jonathan, how you doing today, man?
Doing fabulous. Good to see y'all. Good to see you, viewing audience. It's gonna be a great conversation. I'm ready to get this kicked off.
Cool. Elder Fant, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be on once again.
I say glad to have you back in action with us, man.
Yes.
glad to see your face.
No.
Danielle, you good?
I'm good, Doc. Ready to go.
Yes, sir. Pastor Malcolm, you all right?
Still winning, baby. Still winning.
Still winning. There you go. I say like LeBron is, man. He's still winning right now. So
Oh, come on.
still winning. The GOAT. But that's another conversation. So today, man, we're going to be talking about cancel culture. I mean, it is a big phenomenon right now, and it's something that I feel like everyone is subject to, no matter what age you are, no matter your background, no matter your race, religion, whatever. I feel like everyone is subject to cancel culture right now. And, you know, let's go into a little bit about what cancel culture is. So when you all hear the term cancel culture, what comes to mind? How would you define it?
Petty.
There you go.
Patty, any other definitions out there?
I would
I'm
say
gonna call it. Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
No,
I was done.
I don't have a
Go ahead, Pastor.
I don't have a definition for it. I was just going by what the dictionary say, because I'm like Danielle. I haven't given it much thought, truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
I call it. Oh, you're not cut you off again.
Well, go ahead. You take the rope.
No, I just want to call it public hating. That's really all it is. It's hating because you disagree. You want to knock somebody off the block. So.
Okay.
Be simple and say it's a ship without an oar.
A ship without an oar. So just no guide at all.
No guidance, because there's no standards, there's no limitations. It's something new, and everybody wants to just vibe in on something that they think that they have an opinion about, but it's no guidelines, it's no structure, there's no standard for any argument or pushback. You know, so it's dangerous. It's a strange piece for me.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. And as I was opening up, man, that's why I made the points, like, no matter the age, religion, whatever, like everybody is subject to cancel culture. So a definition that, you know, that we found in doing some research was, it is a public form of boycott in which the public ostracizes someone for perceived bad behavior. So I think one of the key words in there was perceived, right? So would you all agree that canceling is up to whose ever perception, or is some of it sometimes warranted?
It's all perception, because you got the biggest idiots out there trying to cancel. I'm sorry, no offense to the idiots, but to be honest, to cancel somebody, you have to be an idiot because you have a very small lack of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, personally, I don't like to see the idea where you just cancel someone and just knock them off the grid, because even though someone may make a mistake unintentionally or intentionally, I still think there's time that you would give somebody a chance to, you know, for redemption and, you know, restoration. You just can't just take somebody off. Now, if they keep doing things that are so egregious, you have to deal with it appropriately, because there are consequences for your action. But I don't think we as individuals should have, in our own mind or estimation of ourselves, that much power that we think that we can just cancel or obliviate, you know, somebody because of we can push a dial or we can say this or that, So I think, like I say, but people do have to be accountable, but to just wipe somebody off and not give them a chance to redeem themselves, I don't think that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the crazy thing about this is that it's a court of public opinion. It's like, it's not even legit, but we're giving so much validation to it that is ruining people's reputations, their livelihood, and we already have a court system. So, I mean, if a person basically is doing something that requires them to be held accountable, there's a whole legal system, there in order to do that. So, this to me is that's why I said petty, because it comes out of like spite. It comes out of a place of self-entitlement and, self-righteousness, if you will. I mean, it's like the people that are coming after the people. It's like if you was to go in your life around the same time, we all be canceled, I mean, if you look at what they're bringing up, they're not bringing up most things. They're not bringing up this current. They're digging like way back into somebody's, life back when they were in their 20s or when they didn't know no better. And now that they have obtained something or they have a platform, now all of a sudden you want to come after them for some old stuff and then just tear them completely down. And honestly, I'm not feeling that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my piece would be, what happened to the freedom of speech? I thought we could just speak on our own values, whatever we consider our values to be, but our own framework, develop our own framework and just work it that way. What happened? Where's that at?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that's tough because we mostly see it happen to celebrities and influential people, right, who have that public platform. And I think there's definitely a level of accountability that needs to take place. I think Pastor Malcolm alluded to the word accountable. And people, I feel like, should have a period of reflection where they probably step away for a little bit and reevaluate some things. But to totally cancel somebody, like, I don't know if it's the right thing, but an issue that I have sometimes is whoever the perpetrator is of an act that needs to be canceled, and you go and dig back 20 years, who they were 20 years ago is sometimes who they are now. So they never had a change in mind. They never had a change in heart. So when that does happen, then how do we address that person or that situation?
I said they need to make amends. I mean, if you still displaying the same character, obviously you haven't grown. So that's something that you need to go back and actually correct yourself. And that's, if you have an ear with that individual, great. That gives you a platform to have them go back and be introspective. Go back and say, hey, you know what? I've been jacked up for a minute. Let me try to go and iron some things out so I can move forward. That's best way I have to throw that out.
And what I would say to that also is that, it depends on, to me, on the particular act or actions that person is continuing to do. If they are, let's say, a gross violation, let's just say a violation of the law. We know it's illegal and they still continue to do that type of stuff. But it's just something that somebody may disagree with you on an issue maybe 10, 20 years ago, and your position is still the same. That's, to me, is entirely different. But like you say, if someone is obviously wrong and doing things that are, just foul, out of bounds, they need to be, it need to be brought to their attention, need to be addressed. And if there's legal action that need to be taken, then maybe just go through the proper steps. I don't think Danielle mentioned it earlier, we don't have a right, I don't think, as people, just to make that call. We have things in place for that. And at the end, most of us, can't judge righteously anyway. The court systems have enough trouble doing the right thing. So, who are we unless, I'm going to get biblical on you for a second. No, really, the Bible talks about we should bring it to the church and let the church judge these matters. But we'll get there maybe another time in that conversation. But if you're not able to judge and so forth and cancel, you don't have that right. I don't think, we have the right to just cancel someone, because we're going to deal with this later down the road about a question that we have today. And I'll address that more as far as about canceling people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wasn't it like just in like 2017, 2018, 2019, like right before COVID, and everybody was shouting, don't judge me, only God can judge.
Don't judge challenge. Yeah.
Wasn't society screaming that? You know what I'm saying? And then we go into COVID and everybody become, judgmental. And then all of a sudden we start canceling folks coming out of COVID. You know what I'm saying? We started stripping people of franchises and careers and all kind of stuff. But it was like just before that, society was like, oh, you can't judge me. Only God can judge me.
You're right, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, I think a big part of that is there's just no accountability and there's no grace either, right? So it's like automatically you did something, we done with you. Throw the whole person away, throw the whole church away, right? Even that happens like in the church world. So and Pastor Malcolm, you kind of hit on this a little bit, but do we have the right to shame people in an attempt to put them in place when we disagree with them?
I would say, first of all, when you make a correction to someone, whatever you do it in love, first of all. If the person is wrong, you have to address an issue, but you do it with love. And then the way that you do it, if they get shamed because you're coming to them in love and in truth, that's something they have to deal with. But if you're not coming with grace and your words are seasoned and all that type of stuff with love and grace, that's a different issue. But if you just deliberately just come at them real hard and trying to humiliate them or make them feel bad, that's not what the word says. We should be edifying people. We should be building people up. But if it's time for correction, if they're out of bounds, you have to correct that. You have to deal with it. But you don't have to tear somebody down or try to I won't say openly, but intentionally shame someone. If they get shamed and you're coming right the correct way, that's that might be their issue. They have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
I would say in a different take, the shaming that I see is more so just from disagreement. I don't like what you think. I don't like your stance. So let's put out something that's going to discredit you, going to put you down. And I'm going to get a lot of people behind me to actually jump on that bandwagon. So first thing is, you got to ask, who do you think you are? And that's just really an issue of being too prideful. And that's one thing that is very high in our society is everybody thinks too much of themselves and their own opinion. So you got to really base it down to that. Does your opinion really count except in your own head? It's not based on fact. It's not based on anything concrete. It's just what you think at that moment. Facts change all the time. So I think if you break it down to that, you really can't say that's justifiable.
Mm-hmm.
Never shame. No.
Mm-hmm.
I would just like to add, I totally agree on the comment, Jonathan, that you made. It's really depend on a person's attitude. If they just don't like a person, they can shut you down just because they don't like you. It's not, a lot of times it doesn't have a lot to do with what you're stating. It's just like, it's just the personality that you may possess. I don't want to be part of that. I don't, you're not my flavor, so to speak, so I'm not willing to participate in that. I don't want anyone else to, and I have a right to do it, so I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, were you gonna say something on that, Danielle?
Nah.
It sounds like you want to say something based on that. Nah. But yeah, I think the key word in there is shame, right? I feel like when your objective is to shame someone, then your intentions aren't pure at all. Because I mean, with shame comes embarrassment, it comes guilt, it comes with questioning your character, right? So it does all these things to make you feel bad about yourself when you feel shameful about something, right? And we kind of going back to like how we believe, right? Like how we believe like there is no shame in our past, right? And what we've done, the mistakes we made, there is no shame that we have because we are forgiven, right? So if like we serve a God who is forgiving and we believe that, then why can't we extend that same type of grace to other people? Because we will want that too. So correct a person, call a person out if they're doing wrong, absolutely. But to intentionally shame someone and make them look bad, then I don't know if that's justifiable or not, So how has cancel culture been weaponized? Like it's like I said before, it's affecting so many people in so many different arenas. How is it used as a weapon now?
Our political landscape.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the number one eye-telling sign right there. is used all the time amongst the politicians with themselves. So,
Yeah.
you know, they shut each other down for such petty things. And they're at each other's neck for such small, I mean, minute issues, when there's so many bigger things that they can, you know, really come together and join in on. So you look at that, you look at the media. The media has been weaponized to destroy reputations. Once your reputation is damaged, just like we talked about before, as far as your word and your character, I'm not gonna say it's really a done rap, but like you alluded to, Danielle, that court of public opinion, that's something else. So yeah.
Anybody else want to hit on that?
Yeah, it really kind of goes back to what Elder Fant said earlier. The fact that hasn't been structured in a way where there is a sense of fairness, or there's a sense of, I hate using the word fair because everything is not fair. Justice. I think justice is more of the term I want to use, because when we're looking across the span of what has happened in the media concerning individuals, it's been a plethora of things. You know, you had Kaepernick, who, you know, took a knee and, you know, got kicked off the NFL and basically was like blacklisted, and he couldn't basically even get on any team whatsoever. And then after Black Lives Matter rallies came up and then everybody started embracing it, all of a sudden, you know, he was accepted back among the brethren, if you would. And then you had, you know, the NFL franchise owner who was in the privacy of his own home, said, you know, was talking about, well, I think he said the N-word or whatever. His girlfriend recorded it.
That was Donald Sterling. That used to
Donald Sterling.
Yeah.
You know, and she released it, you know, and then everybody was like, oh, you need to sell your whole franchise. Sell my whole franchise? Sell a $1 billion industry because of a conversation that I had in the privacy of my own home? You know, I mean, we started looking at all these things. I mean, how many people have had conversations in their homes, if recorded and put out there, that would be in that same space? And so I feel like when Elder Fenton was talking about not having those parameters, I think that weaponized it right there, because that means that anybody can pick it up and use it. And there's no parameters around it for it to be rightly divided. It's almost like if it's hot and I can get enough people behind it, I can get enough. If the media, because the media will pick up on it and drive it after it gets out there. And, you know what I'm saying, you get on the news, everybody starts talking about it. The next thing you know, the corporations are now feeling pressured to do something, you know, because, you know, now they don't want to look bad. They don't want to look bad in the public, because at the end of the day, all this is dealing with money. I don't want to lose constituents. I don't want to lose people buying my product because I back this particular person. You know, so everybody then starts throwing shade. And then you get canceled.
And you make some good points too. And like you say, as far as justice and fairness, and it depends on who you are. I mean, if you don't have a lot of money or that type of thing, it's easier for you to get canceled. Think about, okay, we talked about the guy with now, don't get me wrong, he was rich, but Donald Sterling, but it was so, you know, it was like I say, it got so much traction, you know, and they just said he had some prior issues too, you see. Not that he's not the only one, but I think back to the Washington Redskins. Think about all that stuff, all those emails that they haven't published. You see what I'm saying? I mean, and so forth. If they open that stuff out, you know what I'm saying? See, so it depends on what you let, you know, as they used to say, what is it saying that must got pictures or something, you know, like I'm saying, you got something over, they hold stuff over your head, you see, and that's not the good thing about it, because hey, you know, now we're gonna try to manipulate you, exploit you, or whatever, if you don't conform and do what I asked you to do. See, so that's one way for me weaponized against you and so forth. But yeah, I think it can be very malicious and so forth. And honestly, I don't think it's right. Things need to be addressed, but just to destroy someone, if they're not trying to show a form of change, and if something happened years ago, for whatever reason, it needs to be a lot of wisdom and grace put with that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I would just go on and add again what I said earlier. It's just no rules to it. Everyone, it's a weapon for anyone. Anyone could pick it up. And especially if you have power behind your name, that you really are in a good stroke. But when I was looking this up, maybe I could ask the cat, you guys here, what's the correct spelling of canceled? Is it one L or two L's?
Two.
I heard it was one. Look at Donnell saying it's one. See, now do we blackball someone just because we don't have the correct spelling? Is it one L or two L's? The meanings are the same, but how is it projected? Depending on who you are and where you live. That's how I look at it.
I feel you. I feel you on that.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of a controversial question, and if you don't want to tune in, you don't have to. But has there ever been a scenario where where cancel culture applied to someone has been justified that you can think of?
I think Kelly. I think that was a justifiable one.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeff
Another one I can
Epstein.
think of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he, got murked off by his own self before he could really get it going. But
Yeah. And I think so like those examples right there, that's one of those things where cancel culture is not good, but it is good, because those things that were always done in the dark, or people may have known about, but they just turned a blind eye to, now that more people know about it, it can kind of bring attention to a situation that's pretty messed up. Thinking about R. Kelly situation, I remember I was in elementary school, right? Hearing about the tape that went out and nobody ever did anything. I like talking to people, like my parents' age, y'all age and everything, who were like, oh, we were still going to his concerts. Oh, we knew it happened. He married Aaliyah when she was underage. Like, we knew all that, but we were still going to his shows. And so it's like, now fast forward to the cancel culture era, we're finding out more and more stuff, and not stuff that happened 15, 20 years ago, but stuff that's happening recently. And so it's like, I feel like that's one of those instances where cancel culture probably did what it's supposed to do.
Let me jump in there, because I might push back a little bit. Let's say, for example, now don't get me wrong, I know that what he did was egregious, it was terrible, not right, and all those things. But let's say if he served 30 years, whatever they gave him, whatever time, let's just say, I don't know the deal, but let's say he served his sentence, he repented, he accepted Christ, confessed, became a new creation. Do you think at that time that he should not be allowed to maybe start a new career? Now, people have the option to purchase his stuff or not. Let them make that decision. But I don't think if there's time, I believe that everybody is redeemable. Look at the apostle, look at Saul, who became the apostle Paul. He's killing Christians. I mean, my position is, now, if we're going to go biblically, everybody has a chance to redeem. Now, like I said, I don't condone, there is accountability for your action. If he paid his sentence and so forth, I'm open. If he's really sincere, and God knows that, and there's fruit of repentance and so forth. Hey, because like I say, I am not in any position, because I think back, if they would have had tapes on some of the stuff I did, I was watching. I'm gonna share this because I think I can say it because it was public knowledge. Think about Jim Baker. Bishop Jakes spoke about how he allowed him to preach at his church when he first came back, and people were upset with Bishop Jakes, but he gave the man a chance. You see, so therefore we have to have grace, compassion, and mercy. Yeah, it was terrible. Yes, it was all that. But in God's eye, sin is sin. And I use this all the time when I'm teaching and so forth about sin. If I'm on the operating table and you have a speck of a germ, whatever, it doesn't matter what size that germ is. It can contaminate you and take you out. So in God's eyes, sin is sin. You see what I'm saying? Now, there are different consequences for the magnitude of what you do. Don't get me wrong. But, so that's my thing is, see, so I believe in all redemption. If he's paid his penalty, if he's repented, confessed, and then, hey,
So I feel like you changed the narrative. Okay. Because when you factor in redemption because he changed his life and he rededicated his life to God, he's not the same person.
Right.
There you go.
But we're talking about someone who, even to this day, I think he still is saying that he's innocent, that what he had been charged for, that he didn't do, even though, as we stated, there have been multiple tapes. That was just the one. It's even in the documentaries, you know, he was a taper. That was something that he was doing. It's just the fact that we just talked about one tape. You know, he's always been with young ladies. That's, you know, what, and if this is why I said, that's why we have court and we have law, you know, in order to deal with those things, you know, because, you know, anybody that does that to young ladies, you know, should, I believe, go to court and be found among a jury of his peers, you know, innocent or guilty, you know, and he basically serves whatever sentence is laid down from that particular judge. But when we're talking about, once again, this is a court of public opinion. This is the court where we're saying, okay, this person, based on his body, yep, you know, I was one of those. He said he was in elementary, made me feel really old, but that's okay. You know, I was one that, you know, during my, you know, when I was like 19, 20, you know, I was, his 12 play album came out, was probably like the #1 Tart Chopper album, you know what I'm saying? I'm singing every song on there, you know, and knowing all that same stuff, knowing he was underage, age ain't nothing but a number, everybody singing the song, everybody quoting it as a mantra, you know what I'm saying? But that was an era in time, but it's almost like he didn't grow up. He allowed the industry to allow him to stay a beast.
Right.
Okay, because truthfully, if we're just being real, it was the industry that basically got tired and needed a body.
Right.
Because the industry that he was working up underneath knew all this stuff was happening.
Yeah.
So, you know, so now you bring it all out, you send documentaries out, everybody's now seeing it. Now it is heinous. It's like you find out somebody is a serial killer. You know, he had maybe had one body, but then you get a documentary and he's had 20 bodies. You know, it's like, wow, no, this person needs to be put to the side. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now he can be redeemed. He could come back, most assuredly. But I'm saying in the state that he is in right now, I'm just saying he's in a good place.
Yeah, let me address it. And I don't dispute that. Exactly. I'm agreeing with all that. He needs to pay his penance and pay his and take care of his time. I get that totally. And like you bring some good points up to, because the people that knew about that, the industry, they're guilty as well. They know that about it. The parents that brought their underage daughters to him, they're guilty as well. So yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I'm not trying to say that I don't. I definitely agree that he needs to pay that. And every year, every day, every second, whatever they give him. And then, you know, like I say, and if there's no remorse and all that type of stuff, hey, so yeah, I'm with you 100%. You know,
I'm rocking with you too. I believe that you can come back. I believe that you can be redeemed. I agree with you too. I just think it's just like one of those things of.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I'm not gonna try to get you out on early release. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going down to the. I'm not going down there. I'm not going down to free R. Kelly. I ain't carrying no signs now. Don't get me wrong. But big term, big picture. You know what I'm saying?
But I was gonna ask, what if it was Dr. King?
Martin Luther King?
Some allegations.
Yeah. Will we cancel King?